Hello and welcome back to Control Alt Marketing. I'm your host Veeta Mandavkar. In case you missed our last episode with Sofie Lehrmann, founder of MilkMoo, hit pause and go check it out. It's packed with great insights on career and marketing that you don't want to miss. My favorite part of the last episode was learning how Sofie zigged and zagged across different industries, proving that there is no single right way of building a successful marketing career. In this episode, she talks about how she prioritizes culture and leadership when choosing opportunities, her philosophy of milking the cow, and so much more. So, let's dive into the final part of Sofie's story. So, Sofie, so far, listening to your career journey and everything that you've done, one thing has been very evident. Your journey or your career path has not been a straight line. You have zigged, you have zagged, you have moved across multiple industries. But one thing has been constant. I wouldn't say one thing, but a few things, they have been like your core strengths, like branding, GTM, rebranding, as you put it earlier, like you've done quite a bit of that. It's like a few of these things have remained constant, irrespective of any place that you've worked at or any company that you've worked at. Now, one thing is, how has this non-linear approach contributed to your career growth and also shaped your perspective as a marketer? Because there is a lot of conventional wisdom in, having a great deal of industry expertise or, just working in certain types of companies because it helps you build that in-depth knowledge, in-depth expertise rather than, doing those zigzags. I would love to understand that, how's your perspective been, because you've lived through that journey for last 14 years. So, how has that been?
It's been exciting. A lot of questionings, and self-doubt as well. Because I had to start as a beginner in a new industry, moving from a big company to a small company, working for an international company, then coming over to a very French company, so adapting my, cultural way of being. It's been very enriching. And I'm happy today that I haven't been following just one path, because it's giving me so much insights into different marketing techniques, different strategies as well, and different people, how they perceive things, how they build a team, how they organize work. So that's another reason why I'm grateful for this zigzagging in my career, because I've been able to be exposed to diverse ways of working, diverse cultures, and diverse people, So for younger people, choosing sometimes the uncomfortable, what you don't know, will expand your horizons. Most definitely, I've been, insecure as well. But that's why you learn, and that's why you hone your skills, and you fail. I have failed a lot. Even though on my CV, it might look like, one straight line. It most definitely has not been a straight line. Because of people, that's one. Because of the market and what they're demanding from marketing today. And because you all the time have to stay ahead of the curve in terms of building your skills, building your network. And I would say there's no receipt. There's no perfect receipt for the perfect career. It's personal. It's for some people, it might be the straight line, staying with the big companies all your life. And for some, it might be, job hopping, as they say, from one start to another startup. And that's perfectly fine as long as you're doing it with conscious around this is what makes me most happy. And I would say for the younger marketeers, staying in the same comfort zone and just taking the very secure path might be, appealing in the start. But it would be very sad to wake up 30 years later and be like, oh, I regret I didn't try this. Oh, I regret that I didn't explore other ways of doing things in my career. It's taking the jump sometimes and not be sure how you land or where you land. That will lead to more clarity, because often we're just in this tunnel and just be like, just one straight line. And it's, that at least that's been my experience. And I also see that with younger people, they're much more curious. They're much more, curious about, what are the different possibilities. It's not like we're living in the 60s or 70s anymore, where the career was just like, oh, you get a steady job. If you work for the public as a servant, that's even better because of stability. The most important thing is that you can be content with what you have chosen in life, and be okay with the fact that you will fail, because, you will.
There is no growth without failure. You learn from them. I mean, you learn from success, you learn from failure, and you need to have a balance of both to, maybe stay a little humble.
Personal. Yes, don't take things personal. It's so easy to take things personal in the marketing world, it's very, don't take anything personal. It's just marketing. I'm sorry to put it like this. It's just marketing.
It's one of the most humbling professions in the world.
Yes, it is.
Something new coming up every few years. Right now, I would even say few months. There's something new happening. You have to stay ahead of the curve. You have to learn something new. You can't just bank on the skills that you had, when you started your career. Sorry, that's not going to happen. There are people who are going to think that they know how to do your job better than you do.
Yes, exactly. And you will only get exposed to that when you change environment and you change that's why you change how you work with other people and get insights to other ways of thinking. I would say that's the beauty of startups, but also some bigger companies, that some of them are very diverse and are very conscious about developing skills and ways of working, and being self-critical in terms of the processes and the organization that they have in place. So you can't generalize, obviously, but
I think some fantastic takeaways from this one as well. I think it's very important to know that it's okay to follow your own path, create your own path. It's okay. Just do what, works for you. Do it for your growth. Do it for, what brings you happiness, fulfillment. I think that's the thing. But before we get into the, your new innings as, founder of MilkMoo, I would want to understand one thing. You earlier on in our conversation, when we spoke earlier, you mentioned that you had a very clear set of principles should I say, or should I say like a mental model, or should I say like a framework that you always have in mind when you're evaluating new opportunities when it came to your career. You had like a, 4 set of principles, 4 set of pillars. Can we talk a little more about it and how's that helped you take like good career decisions? Because it's in effect even now when you took the decision to move on from an in-house marketing leadership role to doing your own thing, to starting your own agency. So let's dive into that.
Yes. So I have 3 core principles whenever I have evaluated a new job. Is that the first one is culture. It's not salary. It's always been culture that's been coming first. Is this a place where I can see myself grow? Is this a place where I can, I feel that I would be a valuable player? And is this a place where people can be who they are? And so that's definitely one of the most important criteria of principle for me. I would say that was not the case when I joined the bigger company. That was more the prestigious, element. But that, it's also culture. Salary, of course it's important, let's be honest, it's not like, it's only culture. Hell no, if there was a great culture and a shitty salary, nah, thank you, no, bye. It's that's for sure. But that's for the bigger positions. The smaller positions, like in when you're a marketing assistant or a marketing manager, you make a compromise. I made compromises, when I was younger and a junior marketer, because you just need to get in, show what you're capable of doing the hard work, and then you will get the reward. You can't start at maximum and then expect it just to go up and go up and go up. You need to prove yourself. So salary, most definitely. And that, that's another principle. And having a very good, in the startup world, having a great feeling with the CEO. It is so important when you pick a job in the startup world. Is it someone that you can see yourself, collaborate with? Is it someone that will listen to you? Is it someone who believes, in the power of marketing? And is it someone that you will grow with? No. But please know that you can also sometimes make a mistake and misjudge people. It can start out as a crush, and then, sometimes the crush doesn't last. That happens as well. But I think it's a very, very important element when choosing your career, that you feel that you have a CEO that you're inspired from, who has a vision for the company, so important, who doesn't only talk about numbers, but also talks about, the people, what company, he wants to build tomorrow, because they can definitely help you build your career. I wouldn't say break your career. It's a stupid thing. I read that on LinkedIn the other day. Yeah, they can help break or make your career. Yeah, they can definitely, pick temporarily a stop to your career, but they will never break your career. That's your responsibility. That's your own, responsibility. Except if you've been, stealing stuff or stuff like that, but that's, but, yes, those are the 3 principles, I would say, or 3 elements driving my decisions in when choosing a job. Culture, salary, the CEO.
Perfect. And I think it makes a lot of sense to look at any role with that sort of, a filter. Definitely helps. And thank you. It was very real. Let's normalize looking at salary. It's a very important aspect of everything that we do. At the end of the day, we all have bills to pay. So
Yes, we do. We do. It is important, but it's also important not to be like it's finding the right balance, because I do see some of the younger or the juniors who are like, yeah, I expect this as well. I'm just like, who do you think you are? You know, like yeah, I'm all about self-confidence. I'm all about pay me what I'm worth. But when you're starting out, there's a trait. You are paid for what you have done and what you know, your experience. So if you come into a company with 0 experience or 1 or 2 years of experience, don't expect to get like a high salary from the get-go, I would say. And also your reward is to get more insights into how a company works, to get your hands dirty, do the hustling, do the hard work. And then you can start to say, look, I create those results. Look, this is the impact that I had on the company. Now show me the money. You know, that's how you negotiate. That's how
I love it. Now show me the money. Just imagine a marketer's version doing like a rap song on this, or maybe a CV in hand or a resume. Oh God, it would be so funny. But I think I completely agree with this. In the initial stages of career, it's very important to optimize for experience, because once you have that experience, once you have those skills, the potential for you earning money like 2x's, 3x's, with the time duration, because you have those skills and what it takes to actually go ahead and demand that sort of remuneration, salary, and everything else. So I think that definitely makes sense. So right now, Sophie, let's get into the MilkMoo chapter. I'm very curious about how you came up with that name, and also what was it that prompted you to make this transition from, like, you were doing well in your roles earlier in the marketing, being a marketing leader, working with startups, but what prompted that whole decision to transition into doing your own thing, doing your own agency? And would love to get the inside story of this name, MilkMoo.
Thank you. Yes. So I left the company because, and that's in all honesty, because we didn't meet some of the quarterly revenue goals, and then marketing is to blame. Often, nevertheless, a blessing in disguise, because it gave me a chance to go, to explore something that I have wanted for a long time, but I was too afraid to do, to create something on my own. So while I'm creating another project on the sideline, like a business, not just, just the marketing advisory part, I said, well, I need to have some money, and what am I really good at, and what do I also love? The whole Ikigai triangle. And I decided just to give it a go. I actually applied to another position as a brand director in another role. No, not a brand director, sorry, as a head of marketing in another scale up. Was the, final candidate with another one, didn't get it. And it was just like, yeah, that was a sign. I'm jumping on the Sofie 2.0 wagon. And in one day, I created my website, which I need to redo, and didn't think much more about it. I just did it. It was just like, it's now or never. It's now or never. And also, like, I was tired of, I was not sure if I really wanted to do the whole onboarding, like KPI settings with the teams. And I just wanted to have a new experience. I don't know how long I will be doing this for. But but now helping, empowering startups on my terms, meaning with what I believe they should do, and focusing on, rebranding projects, also coming in as a fractional CMO to help do the strategy work, give overview, big picture, help prioritize work as well, because that's one of the pain points in startups and scale ups. They're doing too much at the same time, getting lost in transition. So my real vision for building my company and being alone is to build the life that I really, really always wanted, to build something for me and now also for my daughter, just myself, and, have a job that I'm happy about and where I feel I empower people and the business or businesses. So that's my real reason behind it. MilkMoo. Well, MilkMoo, it's because it's something that I've always used as a term, not MilkMoo, but milk the cow. Milk the cow is something that I've used over a decade now. Like, yeah, let's milk the cow. Meaning now we have a huge ebook, let's milk the cow, meaning repurpose it. Let's chop it up. Let's make, a sector focus, a spotlight, from this thought leadership. Let's do a social media campaign from that ebook. Let's milk the cow with what we have already. Let's milk the cow with the great product that you have in place, but it's not on the market yet, right? So the name came about from what I do best, and is to milk the cow, meaning empowering, or wouldn't even say empowering, milking a potential to its fullest. That's what milk the cow or MilkMoo means, milk your potential to its fullest. And that can be in coaching for younger talents. It can be for businesses, because everyone has potential, but not everyone is able to milk it to the fullest. So that's why I called it MilkMoo. To milk the potential for tech startups and their teams. And over in 2025, and the next year, I'll probably expand it a bit, going into more coaching as well, from a business perspective. Also for younger marketing talents. It's not something that is concrete now, but it sits well with that mission to milk the cow.
I love the story. I love the thought behind the name. And to be very honest, Sofie, when I first dropped on your LinkedIn profile and I saw the name, I was like, oh, wow, this is so interesting. It kind of sticks with you because it's not a fuddy-duddy name. It really stands out. So I visited the profile. I saw your website as well. It's been a while since I've seen your website, since I just keep on DMing you. But that name has a real stickiness to it. So I think...
yes, a meaning to it, a meaning.
Like both. And I had a feeling that it might be on similar lines, the idea behind that name. So you sharing this entire, backstory or the thought behind that name kind of really, just hammers it in. So I think it's a great name, and the kind of vision that you have for the company that you're trying to build, for the life that you're trying to build, sounds very inspiring. I think this is just an observation that I have, but all the turmoil that we see in the market right now, especially with startups, especially with marketing leadership, uh, it's kind of translating into a lot of marketers considering this sort of, solopreneurship route. Right now, you're a solopreneur. I'm sure that you will have a team later on. I don't know what vision you have for your company, but it's making a lot of marketers think about doing something for themselves because,
Yes. And beyond marketing.
yeah, and beyond marketing as well.
Movement. It's a movement. This whole creator economy is just exploding. It's exploding right now. People are not happy in their work, and it after COVID, it's they've discovered there's more to life than just going to the office, getting your paycheck, and that's it. They want more from life, and I really hope for the younger generation that that they will be able to seize that opportunity, create new companies, do more innovation with that new mindset, because from my generation, from my parents' generation, we most certainly didn't have those opportunities that the younger people have today to create something and have impact quickly. Because there's no limits today. There's no boundaries to be connected to someone that you admire, someone that you would like to talk with. Look at LinkedIn, I can speak with a huge influencer. I can just message her if I want, tag her in a post if I want her to notice me. Those kind of things. It's short-lived, that's for sure. But, there's definitely no boundaries today to create the life and the career that you want.
We need to say this more often. We need to read this more often. We need to probably put it on our work desk.
Mm-hmm.
What you just mentioned, that, there are no boundaries and there are no limits to what you can do. I mean, and I think one thing which also like COVID really hit home was life is very short-lived.
Mm-hmm.
You never know what can happen to you. You don't want to have regrets. A lot of us lost a lot of near and dear ones. Now this gets into a different territory, but the whole idea is it brought about a lot of introspection into the way in which we were leading our lives. It changed the way in which we work. And why not take the advantage of the new set of ways in which we can work? And also with AI coming in, like it's so easy to build I wouldn't say so easy, but it's still easier to build products, even if you are like not an engineer, if you don't come from a tech background. There are a lot of no-code options. Bottom line is, it's the creator economy is like really in. And I think with the whole volatility, we are going to see like a lot of marketing founders. I wouldn't call them marketing founders, but basically founders from a lot of marketing background, probably kicking in the market with some great products and some great services.
Yes.
And the MilkMoo is one of those.
Sorry?
And MilkMoo is also one of those.
Exactly. But I would say it's also like, because there's no boundaries. Let's say, Mita, tomorrow you want to become a CMO. Nothing stops you from saying that you are a CMO, to plant that seed as a CMO or, or whatever you want to be. You build your brand the way you want. So I know a young talent, she doesn't have that much experience, but she has a hell of a lot of confidence. Like she has so much confidence showing up as she knows everything. She might not have the experience, but she doesn't give a shit. She's just going out there, faking it until she will make it. And I know that some people are saying, yeah, but they don't have the experience. Yeah, it's only half-assed. I can only applaud those people having the courage to shape their life and their career as they want, putting themselves out there, not being afraid of, having people making fun of them. At least they're trying, And also, there's nothing definitive. That person might turn around in 1 year and say, you know what, I approached this wrong. And I think that's very important for the younger generation to have the mindset nothing is definitive. Nothing is definitive. If you choose one route, A, B, C, D, yes, do it wisely, but don't just stay in the fucking same lane just because you're too afraid to choose B, C, D, and E. No, it's
maybe even a Z, or maybe even a Y, maybe even a Z or a Y. I mean, it depends.
Yes, exactly, or even beyond the alphabet. Who knows? But it's yes, it's in private life and in professional life, nothing is definitive. It really isn't. I know it's such a cliche to say, but it's so important to say it because often when we choose a career, often when we choose, should we do this or not do this? We're so afraid to make the wrong choice. We can undo that choice as long as we stay close to our core values and be a good human being. I know it's such a cliche to say too, but it's so true.
I don't think it's cliche at all. This is plain truth. This is reality of life, and it's applicable in life. It's applicable in career. It's applicable in every possible instance that you can think of. Great. Thanks, Sophie, for that wonderful, reflection, observation, commentary on life, on career. And I would say it's not just applicable to younger talent that you spoke about. I think it's applicable to everyone, irrespective of where we are in our career journey. I have moving on to the final question. I would love to understand, as you reflect on the journey that you've had over the past 14 years, what are some of the most valuable lessons that you've learned? And I ask this of all my guests. What would be the single most important piece of advice that you would give to someone who's just starting in their marketing career or someone who's already, in it?
Yes. So the best career advice I would give to younger marketeers is that nothing is set in stones, and never assume that just because you chose one kind of a career, that this will define the rest of your life and your career path. Never assume that people are a specific way when you don't really know them. And never assume that you know everything. Be humble and curious and open. Because nothing is set in stones, that's for sure. And also, if you zigzag in your career, that's the best thing that can happen to you, because it will always give you a new direction or the redirection that you need. Keep exploring. And the more you explore, the more you will discover about other people and yourself. So never assume something is set in stones. That would be my advice to my daughter, to younger people. And that's also what I've told teams across the years. Nothing is set in stones. Go ahead, take that job. We would love you to stay here, but and don't be afraid to take that jump, because it's, don't assume that this will break your career just because you stayed here for 6 months. It's not, I don't take it personal, go for it and make the jump to what makes you feel good and how you want to build your career. So yes, nothing is set in stones.
Great advice. Could not have wrapped it up on a better note. And I think just listening to your entire journey and listening to everything that you had to share from your experiences working in different setups to right now, starting your own business. It's been highly enlightening. I think it's going to be an extremely interesting episode to listen to for anyone who's already in marketing or who's probably in similar shoes. Maybe they're working at a big org. Maybe they're considering, maybe they want to try out something new. Or maybe there's someone who's wanting to do their own thing. I think your episode is going to provide so much inspiration and, food for thought for them. So,
Well, thank you.
Sophie, thank you so much for taking time, coming today, and sharing all. I wouldn't say sharing. I would say answering all my questions and being so patient with everything that I had to ask. Thank you so much. It was lovely having you as a guest on the show.
Thank you, Misa, for inviting me and having me. And, I love your mission to help other marketers. Marketers help marketers, and especially the younger generation, about sharing across borders. I think that's fantastic. And I think it's something that is much needed in this space to give more guidance to younger marketeers. And not just being our own little bubble of senior marketers. So thank you.